Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. It has been honestly way too long. Yeah, things are really crazy and hectic in Taylor and I's lives, and I feel like I'm never home. I don't feel like I spend near enough time in this house that I pay so much fucking money for. But I have about 2 weeks before things get crazy again, so I'm happy for that and I'm grateful for the opportunities and things that are in my life, but hot damn. So, I'm here solo, obviously. Taylor and I are going to record together an episode that will come out next week. So I won't dive into really any of like the updates of things that have been going on or why we were MIA for a couple weeks, any of those things. We will talk about that when we record together this weekend. Very excited for that. It's my annual Cinco de Drinko party. And I'm so excited. I love hosting Cinco de Mayo. So that will be fun. And I'm sure we'll talk about that also in that episode. Also so frustrated. I have the biggest zit on my face for those of you watching on YouTube. And like in person, it does not look this red and like in your fucking face. But I don't know what it is with cameras or why they like really emphasize any flaw or thing that makes you uncomfortable. Like anytime I go to like post something on Instagram or see a picture, sometimes I'm like, damn, like is that really how my face looks? Like when I look at it in the mirror, it does not look like this. So very irritated, but I was not about to go try and put more makeup on it. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna wash my makeup off as soon as I get done with this episode. So I hope you enjoy it. We'll name it Charlie or some shit. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So I've actually been wanting to do this episode for a while. Um, I think it's good that I waited this long because I obviously needed more time, more I don't know, time for processing and experiences to happen to unfold for me to really be able to share the things that I'm going through or what I've learned. So, what I want to talk with you guys about today is just kind of an update about where things are in my relationship, in my personal life, where things are with the separation, all of that, and just kind of, yeah, some of the learnings, experiences and everything in between that has happened. Obviously, there's some stuff that I won't share, but I like to be open and honest about my life, and I have no problem doing that. But I do also have children and a baby daddy that I for sure respect still, and I want to be mindful of those things. So I'll do my best to navigate that, I guess is the word I'll use. It's definitely going to be a very vulnerable episode, which doesn't actually make me as uncomfortable as it should now that I'm like saying that out loud, but I guess that's a good thing. Vulnerable is my word of the year, so I guess growth looks motherfucking good on me, baby. Um, I'm choosing to open up now because we are about to go on season break and I don't know exactly why I feel like this is the right time, but I feel like I have enough context and things that I'm like, okay, I would definitely have some stuff I want to share and give an update. And also I think Taylor's really fucking busy, so it was a perfect time for me to be like, I got a solo episode. I got us. So, I also want to give a disclaimer or reminder that I'm just speaking from my experience. I'm not offering blanket advice. I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus or paint people out to be bad people or anything like that. I'm just simply sharing my experience through this process, and how it's affected me, what I've noticed, what I've learned, all of those things. It's definitely not advice that has to apply into your life. So if I say anything and I get like intense or passionate about it, I'm not coming for anyone that I know personally. I think sometimes some people can listen to this and when we speak, be like, who are you talking about? Because they know us, they know the people in our lives and stuff like that. I'm simply speaking about my life, what I've learned, what has happened with me. And if you feel like that resonates with you, if you feel like that could apply to you, that's on you, baby boo. That could be your intuition. That could be you and your mind, your anxiety, something that you probably need to process in therapy or yourself. Like if something triggers you or makes you feel like it's pointed or something that is making you feel something inside, that's a signal for you to explore. And I just really want to highlight that I'm not trying to direct you in your life or point fingers at anybody. I'm just sharing my experience. So, with that, let's jump into where things stand now. Um, like I said, I want to be as respectful as possible, so I will try to do that. I don't really remember exactly what I had shared in the past of where things were, but Wally officially moved out in February, and I know that we talked about that. And for that period, it was a separation period. It was trial. Things were just getting too intense at home. It wasn't a space that was comfortable for me to live in, and I don't think it's a space that my kids should have been living, and I don't think it's a space that he should have been in as well. Neither of us were happy. We were triggering each other over and over again, and it was tumultuous, honestly. It was a sick cycle. I never want to feel like that, especially in my own home. And after he moved out in February, um, things have been okay, I guess I would say, between us. We definitely were still in like separation. We didn't really know what that looks like. We didn't really clarify, I guess I would say. Like we talked about it sometimes, we didn't really clarify like how we were gonna play that and what that was gonna look like. We definitely set up a schedule for Henley, and we definitely like processed. I separated like the money and the bills and like who would take what. But other than that, we kind of fucked it up, honestly. Like that's 100% a learning period for me and probably him and anyone out there. If you are going to go separate, you really need to have that hard conversation of like, what are we going to do? Are we dating? Are we not dating? Are we talking? Are we not talking? What boundaries are in place? So many things that we just didn't really talk about. Like we talked about the fact that we would still be friends and we would still talk about Henley. And we would see each other at volleyball because we play sand volleyball together. But we really, I think both were just like unsure what we wanted to do. And I think deep down, and I'll talk about this like a little bit later, I knew exactly what we should do. I didn't dare talk about it with him. I didn't dare approach that conversation because I've personally felt like it would make matters worse. I felt like it would make things worse on him and his emotional state. And then that would reflect onto my daughter. And I was really trying to protect how she would be in this situation. And I didn't want things to be taken out on her unintentionally because someone isn't able to hold their emotions together. So that definitely was unfortunate for us. So it's now the end of April, and where things stand with us right now is we are officially going to get divorced. He does not want to. I have made the decision that I would like to move in that direction, and that's been interesting and hard also. This probably came out 2, 3 weeks ago when we had the conversation. I can't really remember exactly. And we sat down and had like a full-on conversation. Some things had unfolded in the middle of the separation period that just weren't acceptable to me, that weren't something that I was like, I want to continue down this path. And so I sat with everything that had gone on and what I was processing already, and sat and decided like I need to pick a path. Like I can't keep living in this limbo. I know that it seems for some people like such a brief period of time to make that decision. And that's fine. You can think that. That's for you to think. That's your own problem, not mine. But yeah, I think it was a difficult decision, a difficult conversation. It still is difficult, especially because, like I said, he's not wanting that. He doesn't want to move down that path at all. And I'm continuing to say that we are. So we are a bit at like an impasse, but not really. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where things stand. Emotionally, I would say I'm okay. I think I definitely have been disassociating a bit. I've been really, really busy, partially intentionally being busy. Some of it like is out of my control 100%. I would say like 75% of it is out of my control. Not fully out of my control, but like a pretty much out of my control. And then the other part is like I've kind of been I don't know, choosing to spend my time how I want to spend it when I can. Wally was leaving for military training for a long, long time. And I knew I was going to be the solo parent for a very long time. And I was like, fuck it. Like, I'm going to enjoy my time right now, my freedom, the ability to like stay up, do whatever I want, hang out with whoever I want, drink the wine, whatever, because yeah, I'm not going to have that freedom when I'm back to being a mom 100% of the time. So I would say that emotionally, I'm okay. I definitely have had my ups and downs. There have definitely been a lot of scenarios that have unfolded that have triggered me and made me feel like I'm breaking. Definitely some tears. I'm not a big crier, so I kind of appreciate that, but then sometimes I start to really judge myself of like, bitch, you should be fucking crying. Like, you should really be crying. And I've had a couple times where I've actually like really, really cried. But for me, when I do have like an emotional breakdown, it's more of like a couple of tears come out consistently and I sit with it and then it's gone and done and I feel great. And it's maybe a couple minute process. It's really strange. Um, I would say mentally, I'm doing okay. I think overall in all of these things, I'm doing okay. Some are better than others on different days. Mentally, starting off in this process, I was much stronger. I mentally was a fucking force to be reckoned with. I was determined. I felt confident. I was strong. I was like, okay, I've got this. And that's definitely been beaten down. That has been stripped from me. And mentally, I am questioning myself all the time, all the fucking time. So, yeah, it's a lot. Um, it's definitely an emotional roller coaster. This process, this stage, this everything is not for the faint of heart. It is not an easy decision. I used to do family law and I would help people do divorce all day long. It was literally all I did is process their divorces and their custody cases and deal with their drama. And I did that for years. And I think because I had done it so much for work, I was just like, okay, I get it. This is how it's gonna go. Like, I understand the processes. I understand like the ups and the downs. Until you're doing it personally, you will never fully understand. You will never fully get it. And that was like a big thing for me to be like, holy shit, like this actually has feelings. This actually has people involved that you care about and this actually impacts you. And so that's been interesting going through these ranges of emotions. I've experienced quite a bit of grief. The grief has been interesting because it's more of a grief around the life that I was building, the life that I thought we were going to have, and the person that like had always been in that vision or something like that. Like, I don't, it's hard for me to say that because one of the things, and this is extremely vulnerable, is one of the things that I had shared when him and I were having conversation is like when I look at my future or I look towards like how I want to spend my future, like I don't see you specifically next to me. I don't in my visions and my like when I'm manifesting this, like I know there's a person there, but it's not like it's Wally. Like I don't feel that. And that was like a big thing for me where I was like, I do know that I'm going to have a future and I'm going to like want it to be with somebody, but to physically, mentally, and emotionally like feel like it was him, it was not there. And so it's weird grieving something that like you're supposed to do or that you signed up to do. The person's still alive, you're seeing them hurting, you're seeing them breaking, you're hearing how things are going, or you yourself are grieving stuff. And it's like the grief is weird. It is a different form of grief. And I honestly haven't experienced grief a lot. And so that's been interesting to me. I think there's been plenty of times where like the grief has been heavy enough that I'm like, it starts to make me doubt everything. It makes me start to think that I'm fucked up, that I am making a bad decision, that I'm not seeing things clearly, and I'm just hoping that the grass is greener on the other side, and I'm crazy, and I'm like having a mental breakdown, like so many different things. I've had like some moments where like I've had positive things where I'm like, this is amazing. I have freedom. I have the ability to do what I want with no questions asked. I say that kind of like loosely though, because low key, like my kids are still like, where the fuck are you? Like, you don't go places, you don't do things. Like, why aren't you here all the time? Like, if Wally has Henley and it's parent time, like, my son's like, where are you? And that's been interesting for me. I also still have like a bit of stress around my freedom where it's like I feel guilty for it. I feel like I'm going to be in trouble for it because I'm not divorced or something like that. And so that's been interesting. Um, I already mentioned the confusion. I wanted to feel this profound amount of peace leave, like, or enter my space when he left, and to feel like this aha moment of like, okay, this is what you wanted, this is what you needed, this feels amazing. And I didn't get that. I felt an extreme amount of peace when I had made the decision. And I think that's because I'm more of like a mental processor person. Um, because I know for a fact I will never forget the day when I was on the walk way back in the fall and just had this thing where I was like, holy shit, like I'm not going to be married next year. And I felt it and I knew it. And the amount of peace that came over my entire being and like the confidence and the joy and the like energy shift was insane. And I think I was expecting that same thing to happen when he moved out or when we made these decisions or when I said I was going to get divorced. And I just didn't feel it to that level. And it's kind of been like a heartbreak to me because it was such a nice feeling. And it was like such a confirmation for me of like, you're doing the right thing. This is what you need to do. And because that hasn't happened, I've definitely like really fucked with myself mentally. And so, yeah, I think that that's probably something that I've also had to learn is like these expectations or thoughts that you put out there of like how it should be or what you should feel or the simplicity that you thought it would be. Like that's just not reality and that's okay. I've had to consistently remind myself to just sit with it and enjoy it for what it is and let the universe be in control and like just be in the process, be present. I have to be present. I can't be thinking about the past. I can't be thinking about the future, trying to control the future or change the past or reflect on it. Like that's not going to fix or change anything or help the situation, especially my mental state. And so just being present and trusting in the universe has been like a big thing I've had to do. As far as motherhood, work, my personal thing, my personal identity, how they've been impacted, I would say motherhood hasn't changed at all. I still am the sole person in charge. I take care of everything. I don't feel a big shift or anything super impactful in that. Sure, there's days where he has her on the weekends, and that's been super refreshing, but also really strange. Um, but then him like picking her up for her parent time during the week for a couple hours, like that felt normal to me. That's maybe some of the stuff that I would get before. Work wise, it hasn't really impacted me so much mentally or emotionally to where I can't show up for work or that's difficult. I will say it does. I have noticed I've been extremely tired. It's made me have like a harder time wanting to wake up for work and those types of things. But I think that's just a combination of everything. It's not always just that. My personal identity, I felt really confident about finding it and that I would like have all of this stuff just unfold and everything would be magic immediately. And it's just not that fast. It doesn't work that way. And I really hope that I'd be able to find myself and my new identity and who I am. And like, that's just not where we're at, boo. Like we need some time. We need to close chapters. We need to officially like take steps in directions before I think that I'll find that. Personal identity wise, though, one thing I have noticed is like I carry so much good energy and I carry so much power. And he's mentioned that to me that like I have so much. And that's part of why he doesn't want to get divorced. He doesn't want to lose that. He wants that in his life. And he's worried about that. And honestly, it would be too. I'm fucking dope. I bring such magic, I would say, that anyone would be sad to lose that. And I just hope that I can find a space or find the space that with this being processed, that I can find that more within myself. I think before this officially like started happening and before he moved out, I started to get like a lot more self-confidence and I started to feel so much more power. And I think because everything is just so heavy and so much, this is driving me nuts. It's so shiny. Because everything's so heavy and so much, I haven't been able to touch on that as much. And it's actually making me sad. Like I remember I would like specifically be like running, working out in the morning, and I'd be like, I just had this feeling and I was like, God, this is gonna be such a good era. And like everything is gonna just fall into place. And I'm so excited for my future. And I'm so excited to see who I'm gonna become. And I've got this. Like, I felt so much good energy propelling me. And now it almost feels like I'm in a fog. I'm in like a fucking sand dune and there's dust everywhere. And I'm just like trying to make my path forward. And that I think is stalling things a bit. And again, I think this is all normal. I think that's okay, but it wasn't what I expected. It's not where I thought this would go. I really, really thought this would be like bing bop boop done. And yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Um, let's see. Lessons and light bulb moments. Okay. So I actually have a lot of lessons, I feel like I would say. Um, I'm trying to decide if I actually want to talk about those first or if I want to touch on some other stuff. I think it's fine. I'll talk about that now. Okay. My learnings, which there's been quite a few, and I haven't really taken the time to write them down yet, which I think was really great that I wanted to do this episode, so I did take that time. The first thing that I started to do, which was like a learning that helped me, I would say was saving inspiration and empowering like quotes and videos, reels, TikToks, whatever on Instagram or TikTok. Like hearing those words, reconfirming like what it is that I was wanting. Like a lot of them would tie into the power of not settling for the bare minimum. And that's one of the biggest things with this journey that I went on is like I don't want the bare minimum anymore. I want, if I'm going to be in a relationship, I want to be the fucking prize. I want to be everything. And I want a man that can show up with emotional maturity, that's already been working on all this healing, that has drive, that has motivation, that has all of these things. And that I wasn't getting. I didn't have that. That wasn't there. And sure, sometimes it would be there or he would work and grow and those types of things, but it was always miles behind me, miles behind where I needed a partner to be. And so saving those quotes, inspirational things, whatever, that helped remind me like what the bare minimum actually is. Because I think so often we don't even realize that all of us are receiving so much bare minimum fucking effort. It's actually quite pathetic. Men really need to step it up. But really seeing people outline it, I was like, holy fuck, that's true. That is the bare minimum. And I wasn't ever acknowledging it as that. So that was really helpful. Um, one of the first real big learnings or epiphanies I had was that I'm actually so fucking badass. It was like the first weekend I had alone after he moved out, and it'd been a couple weeks, and I had the night to myself, and I watched a movie, couple movies actually, and I drank wine in bed. And then one of the movies like triggered something in me, and I was like, I had this whole like aha thing where I was like, holy shit, like I am so amazing. Like I am such a badass. I can't even believe it sometimes. Like it's again sounds like a baby narcissist, which I'm not. I know I'm not a narcissist, even though I've definitely been called one in this process. Um, but I really was like, I don't know where this came from in my entire life. I've always had it, and I've mentioned parts of it on different podcast episodes with Taylor, but like I have always felt like I have so much power. I'm so strong and that I'm going to change the world. Like I've just always been like, I'm a fucking powerhouse and no one can get in my way. And I've always felt that. And in that moment, I had this thought of like, holy shit, like I've also had this in a relationship and I just let it go. Like I didn't feed her. I didn't fuel her. I didn't make her take what she could have. She got so beaten down. She is me. She got so beaten down and lost that she didn't even care to show up for herself. She had the strength to continue going, and she had the power, and sure, she wore the pants and she made everything fucking happen for this family, but she was not that person. She didn't have that energy anymore. And I was like, holy shit, like that's freaking dope. I'm actually so amazing. People who get to have me in their life are so fucking lucky. They're like privileged ass hoes. Like, how lucky are they? And it was really, really cool to experience that, because I think I had been feeling really low for a bit, because it, like I said, it had been just a couple weeks since he moved out. And to feel that and to be like, oh my gosh, it was so empowering and so helpful for me. Um, Honestly, another big learning or light bulb, which is fucked up and shitty to have to say, not much about my life has been impacted by him moving out or leaving. My day to day is the same, my responsibilities feel the same. I always paid the bills with my paycheck, so that hasn't changed. Um, I don't feel this big emptiness in my house. The emptiness I feel definitely happened when my closet was empty because all of his stuff was gone. And then other than that, like I haven't I didn't have this feeling of like a piece of me is missing, a piece of this house is missing. And that was like really eye-opening for me as I've been processing all of this, is like, if you can literally move out and we don't speak for days to weeks, and nothing about my life feels like it's really changed in that aspect as far as a relationship, like what the hell? Like that wasn't a relationship, we did not have one. And so that was really, really sad to learn. But then also comforting, because I was like, okay, I'm not crazy. This was really happening. Um, Another lesson or epiphany, I guess I would say I had, is I knew a long time ago that this is the direction our relationship was going to go. I knew a long time ago I wasn't happy. I knew a long time ago that we probably would not be married, and I kept ignoring it. I remember specifically when I started going to therapy, especially after like some traumatic stuff had happened. Um, most of my therapy sessions tied back to my relationship with Wally, and they tied back to me learning how to deal with him and manage his emotions and manage whatever, so that I could get through scenarios, because there was a lot of tumultuous and painful things, and I was always miserable. I always felt like I was walking on eggshells. I didn't know how to approach stuff, and I knew it was triggering him, and then it was making him grumpier, and then it was affecting Henley. And so all of these sessions, I remember just being like, I wish he would just be like, girl, you need to get divorced. Like, you should not be in this relationship. And I remember feeling that and being like, but if I feel like I want her to say that, why can't I just say that? And again, it was just like another thing that I would ignore. And so as I've processed a lot of this stuff and looked back and reflected on our relationship and where things have fallen apart and where I could have been better and where I needed him to be better, I realized like I knew a long time ago and I kept ignoring the signs. I do also feel, and I have to like specify this too, I feel like I do feel a bit, oh, it's okay that I ignored them, because I think sometimes if you're not fully ready to make that decision, it can make things worse. And I don't feel like I personally was like in a stage where I could have and should have made that decision fully. I think I probably should have just addressed it for what it was. Um, but I think this presented itself at the right time when I'm strong enough, capable enough to do this. And so I feel like although I knew a long time ago and I kept ignoring it and I'm frustrated with myself, I'm more frustrated that I didn't just actually start having those hard conversations, because maybe that could have saved something. Maybe that could have changed where we're at now. Um, I obviously learned that I definitely made mistakes, which I already knew. I already know I've made mistakes. I see them, I knew them at the time, and I truly just didn't have the energy or care to do anything about it. Like there would be times when I would try, but I would see a lack of effort somewhere else, or I would see a lack of consistency somewhere else. And I just let it be and I ignored it. And I could have and should have done something. I could have been better at certain times. I could have pushed more. But if I'm being honest, I was sick of pushing and parenting. I was sick of trying to force somebody to show up for themselves so that they could show up for me. And I was over it. And I wish things could have been different at times, but I I know I know there's things that I for sure have done that I haven't fully recognized yet either. And I think I'll continue to learn those. And I think if I ever end up in another relationship, that's going to be really interesting for me to navigate. Definitely want some time to be able to process before that ever happens. But yeah, obviously I made some mistakes. I would definitely say I learned that my lack of boundaries and care for myself are the biggest reason why I'm hurt through this stage. I see and I reflect back on some of the stuff that's happened, and it's not even that I'm necessarily upset with him or that he wasn't better for me or our relationship. It's more that I'm upset with myself for not holding my boundaries when I started to set them, not making him show up with more than the bare minimum. Like that lack of care for myself and allowing somebody to treat me a certain way and him the same, like him allowing me to treat him a certain way, like that makes me the most sad, the most hurt is that I I just didn't care enough for myself to make myself be loved, like be like, no, this is what I expect out of a relationship. And I hope that hopefully will be learning that lesson and make that better in my future, which I actually know, like feel pretty solid that I'm gonna be pretty demanding when it comes to my next relationships for sure. I don't want to waste my time and I don't want to be treated like shit. And I want to love myself so much that I know that I deserve better, whoever this person is. Um, so yeah, I that part was really sad for me to learn. And it's hard to acknowledge that because it's like sometimes it's not even his actions, it's the fact that I allowed it to happen. Um, I learned that you will definitely fall apart over and over and over again, and you will doubt yourself over and over and over again. That's normal. It's okay. Um, doesn't make it suck any less, but it's okay. That's gonna happen. Um, Another thing, everyone wants to know the fucking tea and will try to find out information or get involved to some level because they want to understand. They are shocked, hurt, confused. Other people are going to for sure be impacted by it, but then there's people that just genuinely want to know. And that's on you if you want to share that with them. You don't have to share anything you don't want to share. And people definitely pick sides. I think I've tried to stay quite quiet. I mean, aside from talking about it on the podcast, but I do try and stay quite quiet on like social media and online. Like I'm not blasting online that like I'm single basically or separated or divorced. Like no one knows unless they've heard from the podcast or from us directly or from somebody telling them. And I think that's a strong approach. I think it's a bit crazy when people post like, oh yeah, I'm getting divorced, and then they start posting all these quotes and stuff. Sure, I'd love to fucking post some quotes when I'm filling email, but save them to your file, save them to your saved things so that you can just go look at them when you need it and you're not that person that's blasting stuff online. Um, that goes along with this, actually, my next learning, as much as you don't want to hold yourself to the highest standard, and I mean like the actual highest standard, you fucking have to. I don't care how unstable you feel. I don't care. I mean, again, some people can't manage all these emotions and things that are going on, and I get that, but you have to do your best to always hold yourself to the highest standard and let them do what they're going to do. Let them be how they're going to be through this process. All you can do is be the best version of yourself. Don't send the fucking email. Don't send the text. Don't get heated. Don't get angry. I will definitely say I haven't really gotten very angry throughout this process. There's definitely been some stuff where I'm like, this is really fucking annoying. I'm really irritated about this. And then I have to just be like, let him. Like, if he's going to do this, let him be this person. If it becomes something that actually needs to be addressed, you can address it. Make a note list of things you need to address once they reach that point, but do not send a message like that. Do not send emails. Do not blast them online. Do not tear them down. You have to hold yourself to the highest standard. I think I'm doing a pretty great job at it. Sometimes I wish that I could be the person that's a fucking falling apart, whatever, but I'm just too good for that. I'm too amazing. Like I said, I need to take a sip of wine. Starting to feel a bit stressed. Okay. You have to keep your space and you have to keep your boundaries. I learned that the hard way. I didn't fully enforce boundaries. I didn't really know what they were. Like I said, we were a bit sticky on like what we're actually doing in this separation. And so I would say that I did not have boundaries necessarily fully in place, and I didn't really try and keep too much space, and it totally burned us both. I think it probably caused some hurt feelings and arguments and things that were uncomfortable that neither of us really wanted because of it. And so you really do need to know what space you need and want. You have to enforce that boundary and whatever other boundaries you have in place, because the second you give a fucking centimeter, which I'm pretty sure is smaller than an inch. That's why I said centimeter, because you can barely give them fucking anything. I love that I was like, I'm pretty sure it's smaller than an inch. That's funny. People are gonna roast me for that. Um, the second you give them any ounce of anything, it's the door. There's so many emotions involved, and the door will be back open, and it's just not good. You have to do it. I already talked about grieving the dream and the plan and the people that are still alive, so I don't feel like I need to touch on that anymore, but that was definitely a lesson. And one of the other lessons that I feel like I'll end with to move on to the next part, because I feel like this is becoming way longer than I wanted it to be, is I'm the only person that can get me through this. At the end of the day, it's on me to keep showing up. It's on me to navigate this. It's on me to take care of myself and make sure that I'm okay, that I'm mentally, emotionally, and physically fit to continue. It's on me to do the hard work to process all these things and to be able to have those conversations and to have a boundary. It's on me to be able to have the ability to process all of this in a healthy way. Thank God I went to therapy for a few years, because I for sure know that that all put me in this space. It put me exactly where I need to be. And thank God, whoever is up in the universe, God, whoever created us as people, because I'm still fucking confused at this point about what I believe in anymore. But thank God that I have a brain, that I'm somebody that can literally realize something, identify something, and unravel it and process it and work through it without needing to go sit in a therapist's office and talk about it. I do still really want to get back into therapy. I know that when the time is right, it'll feel exactly right again, like the first time I went back to or went to therapy. Right now, I keep looking, I look at therapists, and it just like isn't aligning. But thank God I'm a person that has this brain and the ability and have done the work, because I'm the only person that's getting me through this right now. And I'm the only person that can get me through it. So I'm really grateful for this annoying brain of mine. I'm also really grateful that I'm a strong, independent person, because without all of those, I would not be getting through right now. And I'm really happy that I've identified that I have to keep showing up. Otherwise, like, no one can do this for me. Oh, another thing I have to say that I learned really quickly is I can't fast forward this process. I can't skip phases. I can't skip everything that we're going through. I can't jump to the end to just be over it. I have to allow this to unfold how it's going to unfold. All I can do is take steps forward and keep pushing forward towards the life that I want, and keep prioritizing myself, and not hope that I can just fast forward and disassociate and it all goes away. Okay, lessons. That was a lot. That was okay. Another quick thing that I would highlight, I guess, too, is um I feel like the things that you didn't used to struggle with together with your partner in a long-term relationship will now be a thing. That was something that was really frustrating and eye-opening to me all at the same time. Is that stuff that like Wally and I never used to not be aligned on, or that we could process and talk about or just do so seamlessly, are now things. They're now points of contention or frustration for one or the other or both. And it's been very uncomfortable. Money was the first time where I was like, holy shit, like we always were so chill with money. Like whatever we needed, whatever needed to happen, like we made it happen, and it wasn't a thing. Having to ask him to Venmo request me or Venmo me for things that I'm paying for Henley that I should not have to be paying for by myself, or for bills, was so, so weird. And same for him. Like, I remember when he was moving out, he's like, whatever you and Henley need, like, I don't care if I have to live on the streets. I will make sure you guys are taken care of. And that like went out the window immediately. Like, I don't think he's thought about that one bit about how much his income leaving impacted us in our household and what was really going on. And so that was really, really eye-opening for me to see him shift. Um, Property suddenly becomes completely different issue. Your schedules are suddenly a thing, and actions, any little thing that you do is like, it's honestly just becomes a thing. So that was really, really interesting to me to see that, like, even though those were like the easiest parts of our relationship and the things we did the best, they're now all part of the worst, to be honest. Um, let's see. Moving forward, let's move forward a little bit here. I definitely would say that you need to have some strength and some support systems in place. Especially like when he moved out, if I didn't have my Samantha's, like seriously, the leading up to him moving out and with him moving out, like them showing up for me, giving me flowers, receiving my messages where I was just like unfucking hinged and like upset and sad, and them holding space for me was everything. I needed that so bad. Um, I think that's important though too, to note that like if you're not being open and honest about what's really going on in your life or where things are at, people can't support you, people can't be there for you. And I think it's really easy, especially for myself, like what I post online is what people think are happening. Or if I respond in like a group chat or something, that's what they think is happening, but they don't know everything. And if I'm not open and honest with them when I see them or talk to them, they can't be there, and I can't actually process all of the feelings and emotions I have because I'm not actually addressing them. So it's been really helpful having support. It's been God, Taylor, she's probably so sick of hearing all of my spirals where I'm like, oh my God, like I'm making a mistake. What the fuck? I'm really fucking worried. I'm in my head. The amount of voice notes I've sent her where I'm just like fucking going through it. She's amazing, and shouts out to you, Taylor. So sorry for how many spirals I have had. But the shame and the societal expectations and the doubt and all of that really, really come for you when you're going through a divorce or separation. And having support and having people to reconfirm that you're not crazy, you're doing the right thing, that's been beyond helpful. Things that I would say I'm focusing on right now is I really want to get back to more of like this self-love, self-confidence, care for myself that I had before he moved out. I really think that things have been so heavy that I've really just neglected that. My schedule for the next coming months is also going to be absolutely fucking insane, and I really hope that I can still prioritize that, but I'm going to do the best I can with what I have. Um, I've tried to just be really intentional about where I'm spending my time and how I'm spending it. So there's been a few times where I'm like, oof, I fucked up. I don't want to be that person. I shouldn't have spent my time that way. And that's been helpful for me to see. And I think it's also, I had to give myself a little bit of grace because it's okay for me to get a little unhinged, go with what I'm going through. But it has been really helpful for me to just be like, I don't fucking have the capacity to meet up with whoever to hang out just because they want to. And if it's not something that I want to do or it's part of what I want in my life right now, I have to just say no. I have to stay grounded in what I feel like is true to what I want my life to be and what I need. Like I need to have that boundary in place of what do I need for myself right now? And is it to exhaust myself by showing up, even though I know I'll have a good time by doing something or committing to something? But will I be able to come back from it? Will I be a worse version of myself because I didn't get time alone? Whatever it is. So that's been a big thing where I've just been like, if I don't fucking want to be around somebody, or I don't have the capacity in my schedule or the energy, or like the thing where I'm like, hell yeah, I want to do this, then I'm not doing it. Let's see. Another thing that I would say is I've also really started to identify and highlight for myself what standards and expectations I have for my future. That comes to friendships, that comes to people in my life, what I'm sharing with people in my life, what I'm getting my energy to. And then next thing for sure is going to be a relationship. I don't know when or if that will happen. But my standards and expectations are for sure insanely elevated. I will never ever allow this bare minimum life for myself. Like, what the fuck is the point of life if I'm gonna expect somebody to just like give me the basics? Like, I don't need that. No one should deserve that. And people should also learn to step up and be better. And I can step up and be better too. But like, I don't need to allow that. And there's so many people allowing this in their life right now. And I'm like in this huge era of like when people talk to me about it, I'm like, listen, life is fucking short and people are who they are. People in this whole process, I have learned people show up how they really are. Their true colors really come out. I have learned this over and over throughout these last couple weeks where I'm like, I know somebody's saying they're changing. I know somebody's saying that they've learned their lesson. I know they're apologizing, but there's these little small actions, these little small things that happen that you're like, true colors. Their true colors will always be there. You see them. And if you ignore them, that is on you. Like I said, that was me not having boundaries. That was me not having enough love for myself that I allowed things like this to continue in my life, and I'm not doing that in my future. And when people talk to me about stuff now, like I had a friend and she was talking about like this guy and he's like almost 50, and she was like, yeah, he's like definitely got some work he still needs to do, and like sometimes we struggle here. And I was just like, dude, he's almost fucking 50. You're also almost 50. Like, you're seriously going to allow this kind of behavior? Like, that is bullshit. There's somebody out there. There are people out there. I truly believe this. There are people out there that are meant for you, that can show up for you, that have done the work, that are willing to do no matter what, because that's just what's meant for you. Like, there's so many men out there that have just been allowed to sit and be basic. And then there's also so many men out there that have been like, I'm not basic. And that is what I'm expecting for myself. And I hope that everyone around me can expect that for themselves as well, because I don't know, people's true colors are there. You're seeing them all the time. Your boundaries are like, hey, we should do something about this. I don't like how this made me feel. I don't like this person making me feel this way, or their actions making me feel this way. I can address it. They can be better. If they can't be better, they need to fucking go. That's just it. Um, I've definitely been distracting myself a little bit, keeping busy. Like I said, I think that that's okay. I think I'm intentionally trying to make sure I'm doing it in ways that I want to be doing it, spending my time how I want to. I've noticed that when I have to spend my time in ways that I don't want to, I'm starting to be really frustrated and exhausted and drained before it even happens. So like something could be coming up. I'm like, God, I really don't want to fucking do this. And I immediately can feel myself already getting exhausted and like drained of the situation. So that's been really helpful for me to highlight and notice, and to be more intentional, like moving forward, you know? So I feel like, yes, I'm probably distracting myself too much at times. I'm probably disassociating a bit too much at times, but I still feel like I have a good handle on it. Taylor, check me if I'm wrong, give me the hard truths. Um, there's a few regrets that I have. And I think other than that, I think that's kind of it. Um, One regret that I for sure have is playing it too safe to keep the peace or make it easier for him. And I've started to step back into this power a little bit more. I really tried to tiptoe around everything when it was happening, because his emotional maturity levels and ability to manage life in general when that's happening is much different than mine. And I really tried to cater to that. I really tried to be mindful of that. I didn't want it to come out on my daughter. And I felt like it was keeping me in a safer situation to avoid fights or conversations that I didn't want to have over and over and over again, because that had already been happening. And I kind of fucked myself a little bit. I didn't take care of myself first, which is a problem I've had this entire time of my relationship. And I do it not even in just in this relationship. I do it at work, and I do it with my friends. I do it with strangers. I don't put myself first. And that was one of the biggest reasons I remember going on this journey, is I wanted to be number one. I want to be the priority, and everything else comes after. So I regret playing it safe and making it easier for him, because it's only made it so much harder for me. And even though I know I can handle it and I know I'm fine, I'm pissed about it. I'm pissed at myself for doing it again. And now I'm realizing, like, damn, girl, you just repeated the same fucking pattern that you've been doing because of my empathy. Honestly, my empathy kicks in my need to make sure that other people around me are taken care of before myself kicks in. And that's one of the things I'm trying to break. That's a cycle I'm trying to break. And I have so much empathy and love for him that I made my life so much harder. So I regret that. Part of me, and this is like, yes, I regret this, but also I don't regret this. Part of me regrets that I didn't do this sooner. And like I said, like I think things happened at the right time when they should happen, but I have a bit of regret that I didn't do this sooner. Like I'm a bit sad that I'm about to be 35. I feel really nervous and anxious that like I'm this old washed up hag with kids and no one's going to want somebody that's 35, divorced and has kids. Like I've had a lot of like intrusive thoughts and thank God for Taylor because she lets me vent them on my voice note and then we both just ignore that I said it. But I definitely spiral and worry that like I'm never going to be loved again, that I'm incapable of being loved. And I have had to like really check myself when those thoughts come in place because they were not helping me at all. They were really breaking me down. And I think that's part of why I have regrets of like, I should have done this sooner. Like, oh my God, like you're so old now and you have like a daughter that's almost 10 and a 19, almost 20-year-old. And like, who's going to fucking want to be with that? And like, you're going to have all these wrinkles and you have mom boobs. And so I have regrets that I didn't do it sooner, but I also believe that like this happened and unfolded when it needed to unfold and when it should happen. So, regret, but also not. Um, on that same vein of what I was just speaking about, I have regrets of beating myself up and spiraling so much. I still give myself grace for them. I know that it's normal, but it's the Enneagram 1 in me where I'm just like, you know better than this. You don't even like to do this. You don't beat yourself up and spiral like this very often. Like I regret that I let it affect some of my days. I let it affect how I was with my daughter that day or anything like that. And I have regrets that like I didn't have more love for myself, I guess, or more grace in those moments, or that I couldn't see the reality of it. Like I've been saying this whole time, I need to write down my why so that I have that reminder, and I still haven't. And if I would have done that and just taken the time like I need to, not distracting myself, like I said I've been doing, I wouldn't spiral because I'd be able to reflect and read that and be like, okay, this is what you're doing. But I did reflect back onto some of those inspirational or empowering like quotes or reels or whatever when I would get too far down that spiral after a couple of days. So I did eventually pull myself out, but yeah. Um, I do have some pretty big regrets of how I handled it with my family. I still haven't spoken to my sister who's like my best friend. She's my sister. She's been with me through everything. She was aware of the situation, but like not fully aware, and neither of us talked to each other about it. And then my grandma found out, and that was like a thing. And then we kind of text about it, but we haven't had time to like actually sit down and talk about it. And I think it's because I wanted to have like a face-to-face conversation with her. And we've both been so busy that we haven't been able to. And I was obviously worried. I was worried how she was going to receive it. I was worried if she was going to support me. I was worried if she would make me feel worse. So many things. I regret that I didn't have that conversation with her. I owed that to her. I owed it to my grandma. I definitely was so worried about how both of them would respond because it's not normal for me to have bad or negative things happening in my life. I don't know. I've just always powered through everything. I always make it through and like I don't put my burdens on other people and my life's always seemed perfect on the outside to everyone. And I was really worried about my grandma's criticism. I was worried about because she loves Wally so much. I was worried how she would treat me. I was worried how my sister would respond. Like everyone loves Wally. He's part of the family and he still will always be part of the family. I just, yeah, I fucked that up. I fucked it up and I should have, I was hoping for once in my life that people would see that I wasn't okay and they would reach out to me and they would be the bigger person because I'm always the bigger person so often and I show up so often that I just was like, I crumbled and I didn't even let them know that I needed their support so that they could be there for me. And I just like sat there like, hello, is anyone going to ask if I'm okay or what's going on? And that was stupid. I know better. And I've done way too much fucking work to not have done that. So I really regret that. It's made it a bit uncomfortable for sure. And the last thing I really want to highlight, and I'm gonna like share this for anyone that's like out there that maybe has friends like this, or even for yourself. I wish that I would have asked myself sooner if I was happy and like truly happy, truly fully happy. I think it's really easy to be like, yeah, life is fine, it's comfortable. Like I remember for sure being like, yeah, things are actually pretty good and simple. Like I have this house and things have been fine with Wally and I, like everything's whatever. But like I never really sat and asked myself, like, bitch, are you even fucking happy? Do you even enjoy this? Do you even want this? And no one in my life was asking me that either. I don't even ask my friends that. And like as I was preparing for this episode, I was like, I need to ask this question more. Like having those deep thoughts and like having someone be like, are you sure you're really happy? I think that's important. And I really wish my therapist would have asked me that. I wish that people would keep asking that in my life because I think it would have helped me really start to process it for myself sooner instead of just like living in the like, well, yeah, things are fine. We haven't been arguing. We can pay our bills. We have a house. We went on vacation. Like the routine of life, and it's not terrible, but like I never actually was like, am I happy in this relationship? Am I being treated right in this relationship? Does this relationship actually make me a better person? There was actually a reel that I saved that like there's these 5 questions, and I can't remember them right now off the top of my head. I should have pulled it up, but it was like one of them was like, would you be happy if they dated your daughter or treated your daughter the way they treat you? Do they make you a better person? And I can't remember the other 3, but I remember reading that being like, "Damn, I should have thought about that a long time ago." And I hope that people around me could also have, like, asked me those questions. And so, if you know somebody or you personally are somebody in this situation, I would encourage you to really, really pull on that thread a little bit because I know there's so many of us that feel stuck, unsure, scared to leave a relationship that's not serving them, and it's not fucking easy. I'm here to tell you it's not easy, but it's also the best fucking thing you could do for yourself and your kids if you have them, and even this person in your life. Because, and that's one of the things I keep saying to Wally is like, I know once this all settles and you can step back and like the emotions and everything and the shock factor, because women process these things for years. Like, I actually was doing like this research that has been posted about this where like women like, women make decisions like this, like, almost a year before they ever, like, actually take action. Women will sit and process and start disconnecting and making, like, mental, physical, and emotional adjustments, and then suddenly they're like, "Wait, I'm actually done." And they've already processed it. They've already been doing all that mental, physical, and emotional load, and men are usually so far behind, they're always shocked. They had no idea. It's like a whole thing, like the Benny Blanco freaking podcast where he's like, "Women are always telling us what we want or what they want, like, we're just not listening." But I keep telling him, like, once this all settles, once the dust settles and you can, like, have all these feelings and emotions and stuff, like, settle, I think you're gonna really appreciate the fact that I keep holding this boundary, that I keep saying, "You shouldn't want to be with somebody that like me when I'm telling you that I can't give you what you want, and I'm telling you you can't give me what I want or need." Neither of us are doing a service to each other or ourselves if we just say that we should just stay together because we're supposed to be married. Like, he's going to appreciate this one day. He's going to appreciate how strong my boundaries have been. You're going to appreciate those with yourself too, but it doesn't make it any easier. It sucks. But if it's no longer serving you, it's making you a worse version of yourself. Your kid's a worse version of themselves. You're only teaching them to like go down the same path or to find people like this or to be in relationships like this, where you're allowing them to learn bad behaviors because of lack of emotional maturity of other people. It's just a lot, and there's so many things, and in the end, I just want to become alive again, and I want that for everyone around me. I want all of these women that have been dealing with bare minimum or holding down the fucking fort forever, getting treated terribly, like, I want people to come alive again, and I wanna come alive again. That's the goal. So, I think that's pretty much all I have to say. That was a lot. Barely drank my wine. Probably a good thing. I probably would have gotten, like, a bit saltier. But I do want to thank you guys for always holding space for me. I want to thank you for caring. I've had some people reach out and I think that has been really sweet. I want to encourage anyone who's going through this to be gentle with yourselves as well. This is a transition period. It's a season that's going to fucking suck. It's going to be one of the hardest things ever. Be gentle with yourself, find a community, and keep pushing forward. And yeah, I think that's kind of it for now. And hopefully the next time I have an update like this, I am on the other fucking side. I want to be on the side of the rainbow that's fucking living. I mean, I am living. I'm really grateful for my life. Let me clarify. Things are fine. Everything's fine. It's just a lot. It's different and it's hard. But I want to be living. That's where I want to be. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope it resonates with somebody and helps you. And I'm looking forward to recording with Taylor this weekend and giving you guys a fun little episode next week. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.